Just a quick note before we begin. If you find meaning or comfort in these conversations, consider becoming a supporter of the Don't Forget to Breathe podcast. Your support helps keep these stories alive and makes it possible for others to find hope in their own grief journey. For as little as $3 a month, your support goes to offset costs associated with production. You can learn more on the information page for this episode and by clicking on the link, Support the Show. Welcome to Don't Forget to Breathe. I'm Bruce Barker, here with my co-host, Kristen Glenn. And this is a space where grieving parents find voice, connection, and a reminder that they are not alone. This episode is being released the day before Mother's Day, and for many, that day carries a weight that the world doesn't always see. It can be a day filled with love, but also with absence, with longing, with the quiet ache of what should have been. Today, you're going to hear from Tammy. Tammy shares the story of her son, Easton, a little boy who was deeply loved long before he ever arrived, and whose life, though far too short, left a mark that continues to shape everything around her. Her story is one of joy, shock, trauma, and the kind of grief that changes everything overnight. It's also a story of resilience, of carrying love forward, and of finding ways to keep a child's name alive in the world. If you're listening as a grieving mom, especially this weekend, we see you. If you're someone who loves a grieving mom, this conversation may help you understand what this day can feel like beneath the surface. Take this at your own pace. And as always, don't forget to breathe. Tammy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I would love it if you share a little bit about Easton and Easton's story. Can you do that?
Yeah, definitely. Easton was a bright little boy that was well-loved before his journey here. He was thought about for quite some time. He had an older brother that had been wishing for him for the longest time and asking for his best friend. His father and I had tried for about 2 years to get pregnant for him. So the love for Easton was there well before we even met him. And man, once he came in like a wrecking ball. He had just the most beautiful smile ever and kind of lit up a room the minute he arrived. The most gentle and sweet little boy, easygoing. I've never had a baby that was so easygoing and slept. I can't say that about his sister now, but Easton was definitely that little boy. He wasn't my first. He was my third, actually, but he was his dad's first, and he was his brother's first. And he was the first little boy for his dad. So he was a well-loved, well-wanted. Yeah. Talking about Easton, it comes so easy at times, and there's times where it's very hard because of the fact that he is no longer here with us, which makes it sometimes a little bit, really hard for that because there's a lot that he's missed out on, especially for the fact that he was so wanted. The future that he had for him was very bright, very, very bright. He was very smart, outgoing, loved to be outside, follow in his footsteps with every little thing that he did. With quite the few nicknames for him. Fat Man was one of them. He was a fat little boy with the rolls. As Dad used to say, he had more rolls than a Chinese restaurant. And he did. He was small but mighty, and that lived up until, the day that we lost him. But during that process, he was just very outgoing, very bright, full of light and stuff. And we kind of took it all in. The year he was born was the year of COVID, which most didn't like that year. But for the year for us, it was a year of bringing us all together as a family. He was the missing piece to our puzzle. Easton was my fiance's first. He's my fiance now. At the time, Easton's dad and I were just a few years into dating. He had been a stepdad to my oldest for quite some time. So having Easton felt like that missing piece that we all needed, that we all wanted for quite some time. Definitely feels hard not having him here with us. Man, it's just hard really to talk, I guess, about Easton and what he was, because I could just think about all that we've lost without him now. So kind of remembering back on that is a little bit hard and heavy, I would say, right now.
What made him laugh?
His parents, his family.
So he's laughing at you, or
Everything.
you were making
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The expressions we were making, all the things that we did. We're a very sports family. We coached his brother's baseball team, so we spent a lot of time at the baseball field. So it was his brothers. And by brothers, I mean the whole baseball team. That's where we spent our days and nights, was the baseball field. So those were the things, the giggly moments with mom and dad, the rotisserie chicken, the running up and down in the hallway. He was grandpa from Up his first year for Halloween. So we practiced a lot with a walker that my sister had made him out of PVC pipes. So he was walking at 8 months, but he was running around the entire house with that. So that brought us a lot of memories. And even when he was able to walk, he still chose to use that walker. We had to hide it in a closet. So he wouldn't get it, and he would walk on his own because it was just his core moment. He loved it. And a lot of people thought maybe something was wrong with him and he needed it. But no, it was just his handy little thing. I felt like he was just a little comedian that wanted us all to really laugh, more or less, keep us going.
So graduating from a pacifier where parents will hide the pacifier, you hid the walker.
We hid the walker.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely hid the walker from him. Yes. He loved his sports, basketball, baseball. That's kind of what we were playing each night and each morning and stuff like that. So we spent our afternoons and mornings doing that.
Any favorite memories on the baseball field?
Him being right there with me, watching dad and brother do what they enjoyed and loved, hoping one day that he was going to be right out there with them, and knowing that he would be out there playing with them as well.
I think, Tammy, to hear you say how difficult it is to try to capture him in words and also just miss all that he missed.
Yeah.
Is something, my son died as a toddler, and as people, talk about all the things their child did, I don't know who my son, I can imagine him, but I don't know all the things he would have liked or loved or disliked, or, because all we can do as moms of toddlers that die at such shocking young ages is imagine and wish.
Yeah.
And that void is forever.
Yeah.
And only they can fill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is one of the harder parts, is there's a lot of those memories that we didn't get to have. And it was so bittersweet. It was the first crawls, the first walks, and the first giggles, and a very few mamas and daddas, a lot of bubbas and stuff like that, but the very few mamas and daddas. So that's what's hard. And I think that's what holds dear, is those moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes they outweigh the other ones. But yeah, that's kind of what holds dear the most.
Yeah, I understand that. What are you comfortable sharing with us about the time of Easton's passing and those early days and months of your grief?
It kind of all came so quickly and so fast. We got to celebrate his 1-year birthday, just the four of us as a family. It was intimate. It was sweet. It was just him eating some cake there, smothering that frosting all over his face, really digging into it and enjoying it. And then it was days later going to his 1-year checkup appointment, and then the following of that, of him getting sick shortly after that. And all that was to come within the 3 weeks of that was nothing that we expected, and all of the worst that could happen. He just got very sick very quickly and fought off very minor and little common cold viruses back to back. And then one day his body just took a turn for the worse, and we lost him very quickly. It was in a matter of 12 hours. He had been sick, like I'd mentioned, on and off for a few weeks and on different antibiotics for an ear infection. And we were just down at Children's a few days before that. Actually, one of my best friends had just flew in from Las Vegas 2 days before he had passed. she wanted to meet him in person. It wasn't something she got to do. All of our phone calls were FaceTime. Him running with the phone, giggling and laughing and talking to her over the phone, and building that relationship with her via FaceTime. That's how a lot of his moments were his first year because of COVID. We couldn't really leave, so a lot of our moments during that time were via FaceTime and Zoom. So she had flew in to meet him in person, and he was a little sick, and she had been staying with us. And I remember that morning, my sister had worked an evening shift, and I had missed so much work because of him being sick back and forth. So she had taken off the next night so that way she can spend the day with him. And I had spent the morning with him. It was a very good morning. He was happy. He was, his self, even though he was a little under the weather. I remember he had been FaceTiming with one of my older brothers who he was going to meet in person actually the next day as well. When we took my friend back down to the airport, we were going to stop and visit with him. And we were FaceTiming and running around on the phone with him and, just enjoying those moments at home of being sick and just trying to make him happy, whatever I could do to make him happy. Because that's, he was having moments of going back of being happy and then feeling so unwell and not happy. So I was just taking it all in. And then I was going to have to spend the afternoon with, go to work and whatnot. And things kind of just took a turn for the worst. He had went with my sister, and he started having a seizure on the way back from her bringing him back home to us. And she had kind of let me know on the drive home, he's not doing very well. He kind of had this little seizure on the way back. I think you need to take him back into the hospital and get him checked out. And by the time he got to the house with us, she brought him into the house. I remember her walking in the doorway, and he was kind of not necessarily lifeless, but he was just a little lifeless in her arms. And she said she couldn't really get him to react to her, and he wasn't doing well, and we needed to call 911. So she called him for me, and I was holding him, and they arrived, which seemed like forever. Mm-hmm. The fire department was blocks away, like 2 blocks from my house, and it seemed like it took him forever to get to the house. And it just went from there to things went very quickly, and we were rushed to the hospital. When the fire department came, he had a fever of 107.9, and he was going into shock, and we couldn't figure out why. So we just jumped right into the ambulance, and we went to the hospital. Had a couple more seizures on the way. We get to the hospital, and they're running all the tests, and everything is coming back negative. They don't know what's going on with him. They're taking him flight for life. Next step to Children's down in Denver. And at this time, my fiance hadn't been home from work. Everything had left so quickly. I had rushed with him. He had stayed with my son. My best friend had got there, and he had got to the hospital with me, and we're in the trauma room, and they're telling us that, Easton's got to go. Flight for life, and no one can go with him. It's just the flight for life helicopter and the aide, and they took him down there, and we rushed to Children's Hospital, and we get back there, and they say that everything was okay. They get him into the room, and they take us back there, and it went from everything was okay to it's not okay. And we watched them use the defibrillator on him and try to get him to come to. And from there, I just remember it was the worst experience of my life. He went straight up to the NICU, or the pediatric unit upstairs, and they still were running all the tests, and it came back negative. Nobody knew what it was. And we're in the process of trying to figure that out with all the tests, and they're thinking that it possibly could be meningitis. So that's what they were kind of treating for. They hooked him up to an ECMO machine in hopes that that was really going to help treat him for what they thought that it was. And at the end, it wasn't. It did its good, and it did its bad. The ECMO machine has its pros and its cons. And with Easton, everything just happened too quickly, and his body started filling up, and his brain started hemorrhaging. And literally within a matter of 12 hours, we lost him. Everything happened so quickly on a Friday night at 6 p.m. to a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. when they called us into the room to tell us that we were going to lose him. Sorry, I know it's so all over the place. It is very hard to kind of relive it all, but it all happened so very quickly.
Yeah. And I don't want to bring you back to those moments. I just want you to know that those traumas of having our life change in the matter of a day, it's so shocking, isn't it?
Really is. There's no preparation for it. There's no preparation for the next step. Is this the right move to make? Are these the right treatments that we need to be doing? Are these the right tests we need to be doing? It's a fight or flight mode, and you're jumping into it hands in, hoping you're doing the best that you can for your child.
Absolutely.
And that's what we did. We tried to do the best that we can for him during the time that we could, in the short amount of time that we could, with all the tests that we ran and could.
Yeah.
But it all happened so quickly, and it continued to, I think everything since then has happened very slowly and has kind of been in a standstill since then. I feel like it's been on almost like an autopilot, more or less.
Time is so strange after we go through these tragic losses of, it feels like he was maybe just here and that it's been a lifetime.
Yeah, literally here one moment and the next, and how it can happen so quickly. He seemed so happy and somewhat healthy morning of, and then by evening that night, it is dramatically changed and not the same. There's no more of the good morning kisses running down the hallway, the chasing each other, the none of that. It all got changed overnight for all of us, got ripped away. A father's first child, a brother's first sibling, all of it.
How have you felt it for you, Tammy, to feel? How have you felt it in your body and your sense of safety and your sense of your own identity?
I still feel it, obviously, to this day. It's made me, I wouldn't say I wasn't emotional before. I've been way more emotional now. I feel it, I feel it in my soul. There's a country song, "You Can Die of a Broken Heart," and I truly felt that. I felt the heaviness of my heart being broken, and I can still feel that. The heaviness that I still feel in my chest today, on the days of happiness and on the days of sadness, on the memories of the good and the bad. The physically ill moments still happen today, 5 years later.
Absolutely.
And I know that they will still continue to happen years to come, probably as well.
Yeah.
It won't be something that get to go away. That doesn't get to go away.
Well, we've said this so many times today, and I think, the love for Easton doesn't go away, and the grief won't go away.
Yeah.
One kind of a symbol of the other. The intense grief and the intense love.
Oh, that's so true. So true. And that is it. It's really hard. And people will say, "Man, you're still grieving."
Wow.
You're still grieving. Can't you just move on? Move on.
Say the same. To say that they're not a bereaved parent.
Yeah. It isn't so easy.
No.
Yeah. It isn't so easy to move on. The tears are shed for happy and sad tears. For happy for the moments that we got to have with Easton. Those short 13 months and 21 days were all that we got with him. But they were the greatest 13 months and 21 days. And I hold those days very dear. And I didn't take them for granted then. And I sure don't take them for granted now. Just wish there was more of them that we got to have, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for the time of COVID because it got us much more of those moments.
That togetherness, right?
Yeah, much more of the togetherness that we may not have gotten to have during any other year because of that. The year of COVID, we were all stuck in our homes. We couldn't go out there. You couldn't go anywhere. In that short 13 months, though, Easton lived a life. It was a life of COVID, but he still got to take his first trip on an airplane. He flew to Florida. He got to go to the beach. He got to go to our favorite family spot, which is now so bittersweet and memorable because of that year that no one could really travel or do those things, but he was able to experience that, even though he didn't get to experience much of life. The softball moments, the baseball moments, all that we loved. I think he really got to see one of the best years of our family. He got to take it all with him, more or less.
Absolutely.
Yeah. he got the best of all of us that year.
You were talking about the journey that you've all been on as a mother, a father, a brother, and how you all grieve differently.
Yeah.
How this has impacted your identities, your sense of self. What do you witness and then experience in your own grief and then see both Easton's dad and Easton's brother?
Yeah, I'd say even for myself, the biggest thing has been I've lost who I was. I was a very active person that played sports a lot. I can't pick up a softball bat to save my life since losing him. It's something that we did together. I played till I was 7.5 months pregnant with him. And then with dad coaching brothers' baseball team and us being so involved with that, it went from one baseball field to the next. And it's just been a journey for me to find who I am as a mother, a bereaved mother of a child that I've lost while still trying to navigate a child that's here with us. And it's been difficult. Easton's brother was 10 years old when we had him, and he was just shy of he just turned 11 right before we had lost Easton. So it was everything you dreamed of, and he lost in a matter of a year. It affected him, still has affected him. I see it in his school, his friends, how he wants to get close to those around him, including myself and his stepdad, his now sister that he has. It's been hard for him to want to build a relationship with her because of the fear of losing her. So it's been difficult for all of us, even for dad now to navigate the what was and what isn't of having that son to be able to teach all the things and hopefully grow up in the same footsteps of him, of being able to go off and play baseball and be that athlete that we knew Easton was destined to be, because he was showing that even at such a young age, his will and love for the game of baseball and the game of basketball. It's something he really loved a lot of. So Easton's dad and I don't get to we don't get to grieve together. And that's something I had to learn along the way, that it's okay that we don't get to grieve together, that there's moments where we can, but we get to share all the happy moments still together. It's just really hard to see each other so hurt and vulnerable. It's been very hard for all of us to navigate with the relationships we have going forward, how I am with babies, my sister's siblings or children, my nieces and nephews, and child loss after Easton. Making that decision to have another child has been a tough road. We knew that it was going to be. We just didn't know how hard it was going to be. And I think it was been a lot harder than what we definitely expected. I thought I'd be giving Tyron, Easton's brother, the sibling that not necessarily covering up or making up for Easton being gone, but, you know, he wanted that sibling, and giving him another sibling would be something that would be what he wanted again. And at times he says it's not. It's so hard for him to want to be close to her because he's in fear of losing her. So he struggles with that. And I know it's going to struggle with his relationships going forward in life as well, too. It's been difficult.
You and I have talked about it feeling like a risk for you all to love again and to be vulnerable again.
Oh, 100%, to make that risk for all of us. Even as parents for Jerry and I, it was a struggle to get pregnant with Easton and to have him. So to have him and to lose him so quickly, and then to make that decision to, do we bring another child into this world in fear of losing it again? And knowing that we don't know what's to hold and what the future might hold for us. But we took that risk, and we're grateful for it. We actually found out we were pregnant with Aaliyah on the 2-year anniversary of losing Easton. We actually changed the spelling of how we spell her name in honor of him, because I felt like it was something that, it was almost like something he knew we needed. And he kind of like sent her to us. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And she's been a blessing. She's been a blessing to have as well, but it's been difficult to navigate. So even with another child, the loss of the first is, I didn't get to enjoy that pregnancy with Aaliyah that I did get to enjoy with Easton, that I did get to enjoy with Tyron. This one was a lot fearful, more or less, because of that. So I felt like because of the loss of Easton, I also lost out on enjoying a pregnancy as well as I should have, I guess. And it made me in fear of wondering whether that Aaliyah would feel that in the relationship that her and I would have when she came would be any different. But it's the opposite. She doesn't let me out of her eyesight. So
yes, she's very attached.
Very, very attached. Yes.
It does take our ability to be carefree, to be naive, to think that tragedy only happens to other people because we're going to call BS on all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's like, I've lived it. I am now the other person that I used to feel sorry for.
Yeah.
Now I'm living proof. I'm here that a tragedy can happen in, like you said, 12 hours of my life.
So, gone so quickly.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely.
Do you feel lonely in your grief?
Absolutely. I think that is the biggest thing I still struggle with is the loneliness that I feel. Loneliness of connecting to others, the loneliness of feeling like, you can feel like you're in Vegas and there's a million people. It's like in New York City. You go to New York City and there's a million people. I definitely feel so alone now that it's heartbreaking at times because I don't really feel like I have those that I can connect to and understand it. Everyone just wants me to kind of get over it and move on. And there's no getting over child loss. I think it's a loss that I don't wish on my worst enemy. And it's a loss you can never get over. So it's been very difficult, needless to say.
Yeah. And people want you somehow to be your former self. And that former Tammy is no longer there.
Yeah. A bit of me is, I wouldn't say more bitter now, but a part of me is, there's the bitterness of it because I'm not as naive. I don't take things for granted, but I do love a lot deeper. Not saying I didn't before, but the love and the care and the appreciation of the little moments is what keeps us going. Definitely. And I say us as those bereaved parents, that's what kind of keeps us still here.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like it's a fight or flight mode every day that I wake up in, that I'm still here. Fight or flight mode, keeping one foot in front of the other, fighting back all of the dark demons of the child loss and the weight that comes with it and the daily tasks that you have.
So much resiliency and grit and strength just to get through each day sometimes.
That it does.
So Tammy, in what ways does your love for Easton still show up in your life today?
I think it does in all that I do. He is the reason that I'm still standing today. It's him and the children that I have. I love harder for Easton because it's something he didn't get to do. I'm here speaking his name and showing parents that, even after such dark child loss, there's still light and beauty in grief. There's a lot of beauty in the pain of grief. And I don't think that's something that is brought to light with grief. I think grief is very frowned upon. Oh, let's medicate that. Let's not see them be so sad. But if you really look into the deepness and the sadness of it, it is because of the love that there was. So I live every moment still for Easton, and I still feel like that light that I have is because of him. I carry him with me with all that I do, and I think about him in kind of every single moment that I do, because I'm like, man, we're doing this together as a family. Easton would be right here doing this and enjoying it with us, and I'm sure he would be the only one helping me keep his dad and sister and brother in check while they're out causing a ruckus. Because he was just the sweetest little boy. Yeah.
So we know grief travels with us.
Yeah.
So how has your relationship with grief changed over time?
Sometimes I feel like it's gotten harder as the time has gone on because I learn of what we have and what we've lost. I have highs and lows with grief. It's my best friend at times, and then I absolutely hate it. I really let myself sometimes sit in those moments because it's needed, but I also give myself the grace to still live going forward because that seems to be hard as well. You always wonder about the what ifs and is it okay for me to still be happy right now? Even though Easton isn't here with us, is it wrong for me to still be having those moments even though he's not here with us? Because I got a lot of kickback on, you're just covering up by having another child. And that's not what we're doing with the loss of Easton. We're not covering up. We have so much love to give. We want to give it to more. And that's what we're doing with that. So Easton definitely still lives on, I think, in a lot of us.
In what ways do you honor his memory?
Quite a few. We actually, shortly after Easton, to help out with the grief process and the love that he was and what he was going to be, we started ourselves a nonprofit organization in honor of him as well. We did take the last year off because our youngest daughters had a lot of health issues. But with that, the foundation that we have honoring Easton, we do a softball tournament each year. The money we raise for that, we give back to the community. We kind of help out. We go to Children's Hospital each year and we donate to them. Easton spent his time there. That's where his last few moments were. So we give back to the kids that are there, all ages of them. We've done it for the last few years. We've donated to other nonprofit organizations in Northern Colorado to kind of help out families of those that have lost, that are going through the process as well, and help pay for their funeral expenses as well. So give back in honor of him in different ways like that. Every year for his birthday, I go purchase a cake for him. I actually go to a random grocery store and I just pick a random family that might be having a birthday cake being made for their child, and I pay for it. And I go get a sibling or a cousin or a niece of that age of the child that I'm purchasing the cake for, and we buy a gift for them. And then when mom and dad come to pick up that birthday cake for their child, it's already paid for and there's already a little gift there for the child. And it's just, my way of still buying a birthday cake for Easton every year and buying a gift for Easton every year and giving back in honor of him and knowing that his legacy kind of still lives on, even though he's not here physically with us. Saying his name and keeping his memory alive kind of helps me keep myself going, more or less. So
I love that. What have you learned about yourself on this journey?
That it's not easy to break me at all. I've kind of been...
I think I can see that. Yeah.
Some may think that, but I think when you've been through child loss, you kind of... It says a lot about you. And to still be standing here, I could have easily thrown in the towel and just said, you know what, I can't take it. Because there's days where I want to do that. And I want to just be like, it's enough. It's just weighing on me too much. And it's just too heavy. But I want to keep going. It's learned that even through resilience and dark days that you can push through. And I want to show my kids that I can do that. And that even though they've seen their mom at their darkest time the last 5 years, that hopefully gives them hope to want to never give up even in the darkest times and to keep moving forward even when times are extremely tough and you don't know what to do. I've also learned that I can be a help to others that are going through this as well. And that's kind of where I've been the last few years. It's helped me get through it, is talking to other bereaved parents that are going through it as well. It's kind of the only thing I think that has kind of helped me get through it, is knowing that I'm not alone by having somebody else like this podcast and others that kind of can hear me out and feel somewhat heard. Because in the last 5 years, I've kind of felt like I've been unheard and empty and very lonely in a dark spot where you don't get to be heard. And you're just now seen as, oh, there's Tammy and Jerry. They lost their child.
Yeah.
Pity them. It's not a thing I want, nor that I like at all. So I just try to keep going forward and knowing that, that even in the darkest times, there can be light. Like I said before, there's a lot of beauty in grief. And I've realized that, unfortunately, the hard way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What would you want a newly bereaved parent to know?
That's hard. I just want to hug them. I just want to be there for them.
Yeah.
Because I know what they're going through right now. And I just want them to know that you will get through this. There's going to be some very dark days ahead. And there's going to be some very good days. But you can get through this. You're going to find those that you can lean on. And you're going to find other ways to get through this. My first few years, I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't really feel like I could connect, but I found other routes. I read books. I did other different things to kind of get me out there. I spent time in nature, talking to Easton, giving myself those moments of grieving and feeling it. But be easy on yourself is the biggest thing. Give yourself grace. It's easier said than done, but that is one thing that I've learned along the way, is easier said than done, is to give yourself grace and to not give up. really, to not give up, because you will get through this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It may be very faint, but keep looking for it and just keep walking towards it, because you will get through. Yeah. And I'm here. You can get my contact information and reach out. I'll listen. I'll cry. I'll laugh with you. I'll remember your child and say their name, because I think that's one thing we want everyone to remember is we may have lost a child, but they're still here with us. And we can still move on and love and grieve, even though they are no longer here. And that's okay. And that really is okay. And I mean, you say it best. The podcast says it best itself. Don't forget to breathe, because at times it's really the simplest, littlest things of not forgetting to breathe. Take that moment to just breathe, because you'll need it. Yeah.
Tammy, thank you so much.
Thank you
for
guys.
Trusting us, coming on the podcast to share your story, to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And again, our goal with this is just to help other parents and let them realize there is community, to feel less alone, and that they've got a voice. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Tammy, thank you. Thank you for trusting us with Easton's story and for speaking his name with so much love, honesty, and courage. As we head into Mother's Day, I want to speak directly to the moms who are carrying loss into this weekend. There is no right way to move through this day. You may celebrate, you may grieve, you may do both in the same breath. You may feel surrounded or completely alone. Whatever shows up for you, it's valid. Tammy reminded us that the grief doesn't go away because love doesn't go away, and that even in the darkest places, there can still be moments of light. If this episode connected with you, share it with someone who might need it. You never know who is quietly carrying a story like this. And if you're walking this road, we're here with you. Be gentle with yourself this weekend. And please, don't forget to breathe. One more thing. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. We are not licensed professionals, just parents who've experienced unimaginable loss. This isn't meant to replace help from a therapist, doctor, or other mental health professional. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone qualified. You are not alone. You can also contact us by going to the show notes and click on Send Us a Text, or you can visit us at our new website, don'tforgettobreathefoundation.org. Feel free to email us at support@don'tforgettobreathefoundation.org. That's support@don'tforgettobreathefoundation.org.